With so many amazing dolls coming out so regularly, it can be really hard to decide which one you're actually going to invest your money in. But one thing I've really enjoyed about dolls recently is seeing many of those big companies get in with their own exclusive versions of the dolls. For example, these two I got from Amazon. They're both Amazon exclusives. I really personally do really like Amazon, and one of the reasons why is because as an international collector, many of the other stores that release this kind of doll are nearly impossible to buy from. So, for example, Target US and Entertainment Earth both have exclusive versions of Monster High. And if you're not in the US, that can be really challenging to get hold of those. Whereas Amazon, you may criticize them. They are one of those absolute global sort of company killing beasts, but it is really good for international collectors. And I know there were lots of complaints about the way these dolls were shipped, especially when it came to Vampire Heart Draculaura. But my two both arrived in really great condition, and generally speaking, I have found Amazon good with the packaging. I've also found them amazing with customer service. So if I have had something arrive damaged or other problems, just get straight onto them and they will fix that. So I really am excited to open both of these dolls. And one question I would like to look at is something that collectors were asking about these dolls once Frankie was announced, which is, why does Frankie cost $50 whereas Draculaura, she costs $100? Is she really worth double? And $100 is a pretty expensive doll from this line, so is she worth it? So I'm excited to get both of these dolls open, look at them, and also do a bit of a comparison of their value. Generally speaking, Draculaura is the most popular of the Monster High characters, but personally, I've always preferred Frankie and also Ghoulia, so I was super excited when Stitch and Style came out. Initially, I hadn't actually planned to purchase Vampire Heart, but when she was so hyped and the sales started coming in and out, I did decide when she was up for sale that I would grab her because I figured I wouldn't get another chance later if I didn't. Whereas Frankie, I knew that I was going to buy as soon as she came out. That said, on first glance, I really love the box that Draculaura comes in. It is such a display piece. All the styling, the letters, just the size of it. It is really impressive, and that is clearly a collector's display piece. Frankie comes in a smaller, much simpler box, a lot more like I guess like the Cleo and Juice, the Halliday dolls, all of them. It's sort of mid-range. It's not bad, but at the same time, I don't feel like she needs to stay in that box. I feel like she wants to come out. It does have a nice image on the back of both boxes. I especially like the one on Frankie's, and it's one that I guess if I take her out of the box and get rid of the box, I might decide to keep that. And that's something that I could display with her. She looks really beautiful in the picture, and I guess I look at her and I'm going to have to see her out of the box. I'm not sure if I actually like her as much in real life as in the picture, which normally I would say is the opposite with dolls. I'm going to take these ones one at a time, I think, and start with Draculaura because she was the earlier release. I don't know if I'm going to totally take her out of the box because I do love it and I love the way she is displayed, but I'm definitely going to be opening it up and having a look at her inside. Opening that box all around was pretty challenging. I had to remove all of the tape from the top and bottom pieces up here and down the bottom, and around the sides I had to remove the sort of, I don't know what to describe these things as, but these kind of clips in the plastic out of the side. That was really difficult, and I felt bad because I sort of put some very tiny tears into that box, and I know a lot of people have been receiving this box in poor condition, so it felt disappointing to sort of put a little bit of damage in when mine arrived nearly perfect. It is still pretty good, and I am hoping to be able to close it up and make it look nearly perfect. Here she is now all revealed. I found that her stand was attached down the bottom there along with her booklet. I'm not sure if that is a diary. I guess it probably is, you know, like most of the earlier dolls came with. She is free. You can see her incredibly detailed hairstyle, and I think that's one of the reasons why this doll is a little bit more expensive than Frankie and then some of the others. Her hair is super detailed. She's got, obviously, you know, going with the heart theme, the fringe, which is shaped a little bit like a heart. I've seen all sorts of variations on that from images online. Mine, I would say, is not perfect, but is okay. I don't love that personally anyway. I might maybe take out the product and put that down later. She got these braids around the side that seem to attach at the back. I'm not quite sure how. You can't obviously see the back of her hair until she is fully out of the box. She also has this really ornate batwing headpiece with hearts. I like that the hearts are separate pieces. They're actually linked on, which I think is a little bit higher quality than many of the pieces come. They're just a single piece. I also like moving down to her shirt that the rose is actually metal on the front, not plastic. It is, again, mostly Monster High items are plastic, so that just adds a little pop to this doll. Looking back at her face, she's kind of, she's uncommon of the Monster High dolls is that she has eyelashes. They're a little bit odd and curl up the back of her face, but I like that that gives her something that's a bit different and a little bit more. Again, with her price point higher than most of the other dolls, you want there to be features that make her stand out. Other than that, she's got some glitter under her eyes and I guess a relatively standard style makeup, but it's nice. There's nothing wrong with it. Her dress is quite detailed. It's obviously all fabric, multiple pieces. She's got a lace underlay, this little black bodice over this black overlay skirt. It's got real beads to the sides, and then of course the feature that, you know, is sort of really recognizable is this bell style skirt. It appears to be a clear plastic layer followed by a black you know, plastic or vinyl that is cut to shape, and then the fabric down the bottom to make it look like a sort of 18th century dress. I think I'm going to snip these pieces down the bottom so I can have a look at what her shoes and stockings are like. There are some little sewn ties holding her dress in place so that, you know, it keeps that shape while she is in the box. So let's snip a couple of those so we can see what her shoes are like. I'll keep her mostly in, but just take out the few at the front to see what we've got. Okay, so lifting, now I can lift her feet up and we can see she's got these nice lace stockings and little plastic shoes with bow features. They're pretty cute. They go with the you know, the style, again, that sort of 18th century almost, I guess, you know, I guess going for the sort of steampunky style. They fit in with that. I particularly like the stockings, how they've got the stitched black feature that runs up. The skirt overall, it's her sort of centerpiece feature I find it a little bit weird, the plastic bell, and I do have some misgivings about how it will last, whether it will, you know, start to degrade as she gets, you know, a little bit older. It is a cool idea. It's not my favourite thing I've seen, and I know some collectors will absolutely adore it and think it is the most unique thing ever. I find it just a tad weird. I don't think it is quite beautiful enough to fulfill, you know, to get over the fact that I find it a little bit weird. I am impressed by all her really unique features. I think that, you know, people who are complaining about this doll being at the $100 price point are forgetting what she's competing against. She's not a hugely mass market doll. She is, you know, fairly unique. She is presented in a really special way, and she has a lot of really unique features and pieces that have a bit more detail in them than most dolls in this kind of line. So I think her price point is pretty fair. Obviously she could be cheaper, but she is a collector doll. So, you know, you're also paying for the privilege of owning her and buying her. Frankie's box was definitely much easier to open, but I have to say I find pretty much every toy box, when I try not to, you know, tear it apart, it's like finding a puzzle, you know, redoing or undoing a puzzle in reverse. So you have to figure out exactly what is holding it into place, and they're all different. This one had these little tabs that I could not pull her case out before I pushed them back, and I guess, you know, I could have figured that out in advance, but they're all different and I just didn't notice it. I also tend to find when I get to these little tab things that I always tear them a little bit. It's annoying, but, you know, it doesn't matter too much, I guess. Here is Frankie, and look, she is, I love her outfit. It was her outfit that I was super impressed by when I saw the photos. In person, I'm not sure what it is, but I find that her face just looks a little bit flatter than it did in the picture. Is it just me, or does she not quite capture that? I mean, she looks so similar to the picture there, but now that I'm looking at her, I don't know that she is quite what I was expecting. Maybe it's the lack of the eyelashes that gave Draculaura a little bit more depth. Frankie, you know, very pretty, but maybe not quite as special as I was expecting. Now, I am planning to display Frankie out of her box, so I might detach her before I talk about her outfit too much. Another thing about the box, I found that she has, you know, at the back, she has again her stand piece and her certificate. No diary, just a certificate, so Drac may have had the same as well. I think I might cut her out of her box now. I am glad that I've taken her out of her box, because actually with her hair free and, you know, styled the way it was designed to be, I actually think it really highlights her face better, and I actually think she is more beautiful. So anybody else, if you have been sort of debating, I really recommend taking her out of the box. I think that she is just really coming into her own now. I don't know what to think about her hair overall. The style is interesting. I don't know if that's a good word. We hear the word interesting and we think that's covering up as being like a euphemism. Maybe that is what I'm saying. I like it. I like the white tendrils. I like the mixed fringe here. The bun is fun, but what the bun does is it means that she's got this very uneven looking hair at the back that sits over the I'm not sure what to call her headpiece. I'll just call it a headpiece, I guess. Um, and I'm not sure about that. There's also a lot of product in her hair, which I'm a bit disappointed by. I'm sort of used to Monster High dolls not necessarily having all that much product. And this one, considering it has a really intricate hairstyle that I would like to keep, there is a lot of product, so you probably need a wash, but I still want to maintain that hairstyle. Her outfit is really fun, and obviously there've been a lot of comparisons between this Frankie and some previous Frankies. For example, Sweet 1600. So you can see her here, and absolutely there are a lot of similarities. The pattern of her skirt is very similar, and the new Frankie, has a sort of longer, more ornate version. She's still got the tulle underlay that we had here. She's got more ruffles, just more of it, but clearly you'd say it was inspired by the Sweet 1600 dress, which I also really like, to be honest. I like both short skirts and long skirts. I think these are both very nice takes on that style. And maybe it would have been nice to give the new Frankie a name that actually reflected, who she was styled on. I like that she's called Stitched in Style, though, and that she's got the little scissor feature down here. That's a really fun take. I'm not sure, maybe they could have done a little bit more with the theme to make that run through. And just looking, I guess, more at her skirt, I find the back of it a tad odd, how it's got a complete split. I don't know if that was, thought about, if they only thought about the front of the skirt and this was a kind of afterthought, or if it was planned to be like that. It's kind of pretty from the back and pretty from the front, but I feel like it's a different outfit. Her shoes, not bad, but again, not super exciting. They've got a sort of, I think the heel is meant to look like a needle, going with that stitched theme, but I don't know that, it has to be so much thicker than a real needle to actually work as a shoe that I'm not sure that quite worked to go with the theme. One complaint that I do have about this doll, and you may or may not agree with me, but so many of her features, her little extras, are meant to look like chains. And with it being in plastic, it's solid plastic, I'm just not sure that works with the chain idea. I know that these are, mass-produced company dolls, but even so, like, I wish they could have made it feel more like real chain. I am, used to things like Integrity Toys dolls, where all of those features, they would actually be made out of chain. And I know that wouldn't be great for a play doll, because it would be, it would get tangled in her hair and go very messy. But this doll is designed for collectors. So I think it would look nicer to be designed either not to look like chain, or to be designed in a way that they actually could have made it with a product that felt a bit like chain, because this just doesn't. Maybe that's a small complaint, but I probably would have done this outfit a little bit differently. Looking at the two dolls together, whether you agree that Draculaura is worth $100 and Frankie is worth half that, is going to come down to your personal taste. They are both really beautiful dolls that have a lot of fantastic design features. I would say that straight up that Draculaura is definitely worth more, whether you like her more or not. She is a more significant doll purchase. She is clearly larger. The box is more impressive. The clothing has lots of features we've never seen before, like the plastic hoop skirt, and even the dangling pieces on the headpiece and the metal rose. They all add that, just value to it. That I think we don't see in Frankie. Frankie is a more simple design. I love her hair. Well, it's, I like it. But even compared with Draculaura, the hair is a little bit more simple. The headpiece is cool, but not as nice as Draculaura's, and it's got that, very stiff feel that comes from being solid plastic, whereas at least Draculaura has the extra dangle pieces, and the thinner plastic bits actually makes them, I think, more flexible, have a nicer feel to the hand. Frankie's dress also has lots of detail, but I do find the chain thing just doesn't quite work on it. Maybe a good idea that just could have been executed a little bit differently. Whereas I think, even though I don't personally love Draculaura's dress that much, I actually think it's been executed really incredibly well. I think it really works for what they were going for. Whereas Frankie's, I feel almost like the opposite on. I love what they were trying to do, but I don't feel it quite did it. She also just doesn't have as many clothing pieces. I didn't mention her top when I was looking at her. I actually really like the top. It's super cute. And, it adds that sort of high fashion feel to the skirt, but it's very small. And Draculaura has a lot more. I do like the chains on Frankie's arm. I think they're really nice pieces, and they should come off if you wanted them to, but I really like them. The shoes, not better. They're just fine. Draculaura's I like, and I do like her stockings. So she just comes with a bit more. So as I said, whether she is worth twice what she is worth, I'm not sure. She's definitely worth quite a bit more. I think Frankie was a really good price point. I think $50 for a collector doll is really good, even if I have some misgivings about her. I still think she's beautiful, and I'm really happy to have her in my collection. $100 you might feel is a fair bit for, a collector doll with mostly plastic features like this. But to be honest, I think that personally, I think she is worth that. Even though I wasn't planning to get her, I think she's been priced pretty well. I don't know if you agree with me or not, or if you've got a favourite out of these two. If you'd like to see me do more reviews and comparisons, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.